Session.
Second.
Waters?
Aye. Takes 3 to open up.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Greckin?
Aye. Motion to adjourn to closed session. Second.
Greckin?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye. Call the roll, please, on the regular meeting.
Greckin?
Here.
Moore?
Here.
Shaner?
Here.
Scott?
Here.
Waters?
Here. Can you stand for a moment of silent prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Girls here or on the phone?
Does that.
Interview for Seniors Advisory Committee, Dan Burrows.
Thanks.
Not with us? What's that?
He's not signed in.
We've tried to call him and he doesn't answer. And
Okay, then we'll go to items 3 through 17D for the consent agenda today. Consider the items passed unanimously unless a separate roll call vote is asked for by the council member. Anyone want to speak on an agenda item, please come up as I read it. State your name and address for the record. If you want to come up on an item not on the agenda, please come up on citizen concerns. I'll move the consent agenda. Second. 3 is the reading of the city council minutes of February 8th, 10th, and 13th, 2021. 4 is a resolution approving the certified local government annual report. 5 is a resolution scheduling a hearing on the Section 8 housing annual plan. 6 is a resolution scheduling a hearing on the revisions of the Section 8 housing administrative plan. 7 is a resolution authorizing proposals for land in the combined Central Sioux City urban renewal area and announcing the intent to accept the proposal of the Ponca tribe of Nebraska and schedule a hearing. 8 is a motion appointing Ron Benoch to the Active Transportation Advisory Committee. 9 is a resolution amending the purchase order with Hockenberg's Equipment and Supply for kitchen equipment at the Expo and Riverside Pool. 10 are actions relating to grants. A is a resolution authorizing the city police department to accept the 2018 JAG program funds. B is a resolution authorizing the police department to accept the 2019 JAG program funds. C is a resolution accepting a CLG grant from the State Historical Society to fund a survey for the creation of a new downtown historic district. Civil penalties and suspensions, items 11A through 11F, a resolution scheduling hearings on $300 civil penalties for violation of the cigarette laws for the following businesses. A is Pax and Tap. B is Sarge's Mini Mart 3. C is Select Mart. D is Sarge's Mini Mart. E is Flames Tobacco and Vape. F is Tobacco Hut. Resolutions withdrawing the $500 civil penalty against Brew Morningside for violation of the Iowa liquor laws. Actions relating to bonds. A is a resolution electing classifications and procedures for bond projects. Items 12B through 12H are resolutions scheduling hearings on the issuance of GO bonds. 13 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution authorizing an agreement with IDOT and BNSF Railway for a signal safety program project at Jackson Street. B is a resolution approving an assignment and assumption agreements between Beth Bruning and Prairie Boulevard. C is a resolution approving renewal option 2 with Siouxland Regional Transit for the paratransit contract. D is a resolution approving a work order number 12 and 13 to the master agreement with Bartlett and West for the renewable fuels project. This is $450,000, right? Or $450,000 by the hour.
It's not to exceed, yes, Mayor. Mark Sims, Utilities Director.
A whole lot of hours. They must have a whole fleet of guys just doing nothing but working for us. It's hard to believe you could get $450,000 in a shorter time frame than.
Well, and there's actually two work orders there, 12 and 13. So
Yeah?
They total 600,000.
Oh, well, excuse me. I thought it was 150 and then okay, so, I mean, that's unbelievable. These guys, first place, they're way behind, and you can't tell me they're not part of some of the problem here. We've missed a couple $1 million worth of gas sales, but our solution is to give them another contract. And I know what you're gonna tell me, the state loves them and the IDNR, but somebody from there needs to tell me why I should vote for this today and I know they're gonna vote for it, I get it. But our gas sales are not even, and don't blame it all on the contractor, let's don't blame it all on the material suppliers, let's don't blame it. This has gone on so far that we've missed opportunities on that California credit and things like that.
But wouldn't a lot of it be on the contractors and the materials? Because if they can't provide that, or if
These
they
guys
can't-
were late getting it out for bid to begin with, but I don't know. It's frustrating. And then, I mean, what are they getting an hour at 450,000 for one and 150 for another? How much?
If you'd like, Mayor, the representatives from Bartlett West are here.
Well, good. Have them explain it to me, because I'm sure they're really happy that I'm
Randy, would
shooting
you
my
like
mouth off, but I don't
Randy
really
Kenyon,
care.
he's a project manager. Sure.
Yeah.
Either one.
It's unacceptable where we're at with this project. For me, we've given you guys a lot of money, and all we've done is extend contracts and give you more money. So, I mean, yeah, $175 an hour, $230 an hour. How are you gonna have that many hours?
It's true. I mean, sir,
You probably haven't noticed, I'm not a big engineering fan favorite, okay?
Understood.
And I get really not very favorite when we don't deliver the product on time.
yes, sir.
Sir, can you identify yourself, name and company?
You bet. My name is Randy Kenyon, and I'm an engineer with Bartlett West.
Thank you.
And then if you have a response or an explanation you wanted to share, that would be good.
Well, the explanation is complex, as a lot of things are. I'm not going to say that we're completely blameless in this, and it's 100% the contractor. That's never the case. And I'd be glad to do an explanation for you all, a written one. I mean, the explanation would take a lot of time, which I'm happy to do. I just don't think you probably want to get into the intricacies of it tonight.
No, but I'd like an explanation, and I'd like an explanation as to, at this stage, why we haven't made more progress with the state of Iowa on expanding the amount of capacity we have, which was promised as part of all of this stuff.
And Mayor, that's part of one of these work orders.
Yeah, I know that, but it's always part of one of these work orders, and so far, we aren't any further down the road than what we have been. So when, I mean, I know you guys are gonna vote for it, but the citizens of this community have a right to know, when are we gonna get an expansion at our wastewater plant?
There were several basic things that the state required in order to get that expansion. And there's no question the renewable fuels has been a bit of a distraction to that, admit that readily. But the things that were required were a digester expansion, which is underway. That design is separate from this. That's underway right now. And then expansion of the clarifiers. So the design of the expansion of the clarifiers was put on hold to finish up the renewable fuels. Some of that cost, and you'll have a chance to address this later, but some of that cost to design those clarifiers is recoverable under some liquidated damages with the contractors for the renewable fuels project. So,
Which I hope we're successful at. I mean, that is a concern, but yeah, I agree.
right. So all those pieces fit together, but again, I can't tell you what the state will or will not approve, but as of right now, what we understand from them is if we complete the digester project and the clarifier project, and we have to do a new facility plan, all of which is underway right now, and they approve that, then you should be cleared for additional expansion. Of course, that has to be constructed too, which is, we're looking at a little later this year to actually start construction on some of those components. But once those are in place, those are the pieces for the first expansion of your capacity. The next expansion is a whole nother discussion about doing a non-degradation analysis, and that's in the future. But the first expansion we've talked about, that's what's planned for this round.
Well, if you guys are comfortable, go ahead and vote. I'm gonna vote no, so I'll call for the roll. But I still want a follow-up. I wanna see how many hours. It's just hard to believe that. I mean, you must just have everybody in that Des Moines office working on this one project to get 600,000 in the next few months.
It is a lot of hours, I agree.
Well, and I think it's fine if we can, do we need to, I mean, we had a memo on this prior to, but if we want more information or more of an explanation before a vote, do you think, what would the timeline be, or would this push it back where we need to get moving quicker? Is this something, a memo, at least then to address some of the mayor's concerns, could be brought back next week or something like that? I mean, I'm sure you're looking at me saying, no, let's just go to a vote. We need to get this moving. But what are your thoughts?
I am, Alex, but I would probably have to defer to Brad since I won't be here after next week, so.
Okay.
I guess.
But I think, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
You know, to the mayor's point, I think that the work we've done to date, whether it's with Bartlett West or others, has contributed to a better relationship with DNR. And certainly don't want to cause anything to damage that. And based upon my conversations with the gentleman that does the re-rating, the best path forward for us is to continue with a prime engineering firm who certainly, if they felt a need, could subcontract portions of their design out. But I just don't, I think it would go backwards if we were to take another route, and that's my concern. And these guys have probably already completed 50 or 60% design on the digester work, which probably would be in jeopardy if we went.
Why? He said that's already in his contract he has now. That's what he just said. Why would that be, put that in jeopardy?
Well, that's correct. The portion of the design has already been completed for the upgrades, the digester, that sort of thing. This current contract is for two things. There's the $150,000 that is for support on the renewable fuels project going forward, and the $450 is for completion of the clarifier completion of that project, which was put on hold, and we worked on the renewable fuels and all the issues with the contractor there.
You were working on it without a contract?
No, the digester improvements is a separate work order.
But you already have been approved for.
Yes, that's correct. The clarifiers and the ferric chloride storage building is a separate contract. Now, what we are proposing to do, and staff has, I think so far approved this idea, is to merge those two construction projects, because the timing, which was unfortunate because it was delayed by the renewable fuels, does allow us to bring those two contracts together and bid them together. And there's a couple things that will help with that. One is there'll be less cost for engineering oversight during construction, but also the bigger thing is you'll get better quality bids because it'll be a larger bid, and you'll likely attract out of town, nothing wrong with this town, but just a larger pool of contractors to bid on a project like that instead of bidding the two separately.
Well, that didn't work out very well on the renewable fuels, but anyway. What do you guys want?
Mark,
I'm calling for a vote so you can.
Mark answered my question before I asked it. That was the different options and alternatives that we have, and how far are we into the project. So you answered the question without it being asked, so thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the clarification, Mark. I thought your memo outlined that as well, but I appreciate you sharing that. And sir, I appreciate you being here representing the company and talking through a little bit about that. I understand there are a lot of complexities. I think I share the mayor's frustration with renewable fuels. I think we all thought that would be up and running much sooner than it ended up. I think we thought we would have been capturing much more revenue to this point, which would help justify some of these things. So I think I understand where that frustration is coming from. And then also just to get hit with another bill of, oh, here's more onto it. But I think that getting this across the finish line, keeping that good relationship with IDNR, and having someone at the helm to be able to kind of manage this very complex process, at least through this renewal, is going to be important. So I just wanted to at least thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And this moves us into asset renewal too, which is part of the work plan in the CIP, so.
For the long term, yep.
Right.
Call the roll, please.
Moore,
Aye?
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
No.
Waters,
Aye.
Gretkin.
Aye.
And I will expect that report. E is a resolution approving a consulting services agreement with Veemster and Kim for the Annual Bridge Inspection and Rating Program Project. F is a resolution approving a contract to Bainbridge Construction for the Ingleside Avenue project. G is a resolution approving a contract for RP Constructors for the 33rd Street paving project. H is a resolution approving a contract to Barclay Asphalt for the Chambers Street overlay project. I is a resolution approving a contract to Barclay Asphalt for the South St. Aubin and Orleans Avenue overlay project. 14 are actions relating or authorizing payments. A is a resolution approving fund transfers for January. B is a motion approving total payments issued for January. C is a resolution approving a settlement agreement and payment for the FAA. D is a resolution authorizing payment to Sioux contractors for the transit lighting project. E is a resolution authorizing payment to MTC Mechanical for the Fire Training Center HVAC replacement project. I need to abstain on that, please. F is a resolution authorizing payment to L&L Builders for the Expo Center. 15 are applications for property tax exemptions. Items 15A through 15J are resolutions accepting applications for property tax exemptions for improvements made to property within the city's urban revitalization areas. 16 are applications for beer and liquor license. See the list, come forward if you have questions. 17 are receipt of minutes. See the list, come forward if you have questions. This concludes the consent agenda. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? Call the roll. Are we voting? We're voting.
In our voting control,
Okay.
please.
I got it. That's okay. Yeah.
Passes 5-0. 18, recommendations, P and Z. 18 is a hearing and ordinance vacating a portion of the alley to 1800 Sioux Trail. Petitioner Morningside College. P and Z recommends approval. People will still be using this. If I read that, well, I'll move it first. Let's second. The hearing's now open. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Ryan Ross, Planning and Zoning. Good to be here. This has to do with a alley vacation located on the Morningside campus. They're planning on constructing a greenhouse on this property. Our vote 6-0. There was no public comment.
But Mayor, to your point, it does say access would not be denied to the property owner. I think is.
Well, yeah, that's what I want to make sure
Maybe
how
we'll
that
work out.
happens. Are we, Mr. Hanson, is he here? Are we selling this alley?
Just answer your other question, Chris Madgen, planner, this alley would not, vacating the alley would not deny access. The only abutting property owner is Morningside.
Oh, okay.
Are we selling this alley?
Jeff Hansen, Community Development Operations Manager. Yes, we would sell the portion of the alley that's been vacated. I don't know, Chris, if you want to pull up a map that's included in the report, just to clarify Chris's comment. There is no access being denied. We're only vacating a portion of it at the west end, and it would only impact Morningside College.
What will we be selling it for?
What we do is we take the adjacent property assessed value as being assessed by the Sioux City assessor, and we average that, and then we take the formula price. For commercial, it's 100%, residential, it's 50%. And then that would have to come to City Council for approval.
What would this be?
I haven't calculated it yet.
Would it be residential or commercial?
It'd be more than likely commercial because it's not a residence that's buying the alley. So Morningside College owns on the north and south side of that portion of vacated alley. It's already a dead-end alley today, and we're just simply shortening the alley, and we're remaining access to the residents to the southeast of the alley.
Okay. Anyone to be heard?
I have the wrong thing displaying on my screen. If we're voting, I guess.
The hearing is closed.
Oh,
Yeah, you jumped the gun. You got to do it in an orderly fashion, or the
I
city-
just pressed next item, and that's what came up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine voting out loud if that's,
Hold on, I've got it.
just tell me what's easier.
Nobody has anywhere to go tonight. Take your time.
Okay, I am.
Okay, good.
It's good to see you, Mr. Ross.
Good to be here, Mr. Moore.
Yeah. Be just a little bit here.
I could stand here all night.
Here it is.
There we go.
Okay, now we're going.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. I did not notice that. I just haven't used it for a long time.
We know it's you, Pete, the way she did that. Okay, 4-0, Mr. Waters.
I voted a half an hour ago.
I apologize.
That was for 2 items early. Anybody opposed waiving the statutory rule?
No?
No.
I'll move it.
Second?
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Abstain.
Gretkin?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
I'll move second, third.
Second?
You got it up there already again?
Yes.
Well, how come it's showing up like that? What if,
It is weird it's showing up already. but-
Something weird.
passes 4-0 to 1. 19 is a motion approving the preliminary plot of the residence at Elk Creek. Petitioner Koskovich and Murphy Development. P and Z recommends approval. I'll move it.
Second?
Okay, and this one, oh, it's just the plat, so you'll speak next on
Yeah,
actual.
so the vote on this was 6-0 also. There was a fair amount of public comment, so I want to address what I think would be sort of a summary of those comments, most of which had to do with either concerns about the property owners being annexed, which is somewhat unrelated to the site plan itself, and secondly, comments related to what is referred to as the neck that extends westerly from this subdivision, which is an extension of Singing Hills Boulevard.
Past the church, right?
Lisa, do you have a?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
have that
From
up?
Lakeport.
Yeah,
Old
yeah,
Lakeport.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
Excuse me?
Can you put
Can we
that
get
up
a
or no?
map up? Do we have a map of this one? Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Well,
off.
that's fine. So along the extended Singing Hills Boulevard, there were concerns about grading, there were concerns about the location of sidewalks. And I think those are things that the staff were going to address with the neighbors, and I felt like the neighbors were relatively okay with those changes. There weren't any comments that I recall having to do with the actual subdivision itself. There weren't any concerns about density, other than there were concerns about traffic counts that might be increased on Old Lakeport Road. There was a request for a four-way stop on Lakeport Road, which I understanding city engineering didn't find that the traffic count required that. There will be stop signs on Singing Hills Road at that intersection with Lakeport Road. So those were the comments that I recall. But in the end, I don't think there were any serious objections. There were more questions.
So the only question I had about that four-way stop, I didn't understand it because I thought at that corner where the church is, isn't there a four-way stop?
So Alex, this is
No,
further south. This is further south on Old Lakeport. This is Singing Hills Boulevard. You're referring to the intersection to the north with Christie Road.
Oh, okay. No,
So
I know what you're talking about
There's
now.
currently a stop sign here at the end of Singing Hills Boulevard, and there'll be a new stop sign here at the extension of Singing Hills. There was a request during the meeting to look at a four-way stop on Old Lakeport, and just based on the unit count of Elk Creek, more than likely that will not warrant a four-way stop anytime soon, even at full build-out. Until this continues further to the east and we see more development to the north and south, a traffic study could be done to determine what is all needed there. But for as of right now, it'll just be a stop condition on Singing Hills, not Old Lakeport.
Ryan, did I read this was 43 acres?
Yes.
43?
81,
How many?
81 lots?
81.
81 lots, 143 units.
And roughly speaking, it's a third single family. These aren't exact numbers, but a third single family, a third duplexes, and a third triplexes.
Okay, anyone to be heard?
I'm
Gotcha.
excited.
So it's the intersection that's south. It's not the church intersection. That's
One that doesn't hardly
Yeah.
exist today.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Well, we certainly need more units in our community.
John Hines, I'm attorney for the applicant Koskovich and Murphy Developments. I don't have anything really to add, just wanted to thank city staff for the time that went into this plat. There was a lot of work between the engineers and the city staff, and a lot of parts move in this to get it to this point, and I know the developers really appreciate everyone's attention, so that's all.
You're like Mr. Moore now that you got out there, you can send him that bill. He's, good job.
Thanks,
Got to check into work.
I'm trying to think of a question I can ask you. No, but I can't think of one. Because I agree with you, staff did such a good job.
I'm welcome to answer any questions, but
putting this together.
All right, anyone
Thank
else
you.
to be heard? Thank you. Okay. Electronic voting, guys.
What item is up on the screen?
20,
Mr. Moore?
19. I'm sorry, excuse me.
I am, but I wanted to make sure it was 19 on the screen.
Oh,
Why don't you vote?
Mr. Waters.
Passes 5-0. 20 is a hearing and ordinance placing the newly annexed territory of in the suburban residential zone classification. Petitioners Koskovich and Murphy Developments, P and Z recommends approval. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing's open, go ahead.
That vote was 6-0 also, and I don't think there were any comments regarding the proposed zoning.
Anyone to be heard on this item?
I do have one question. From start of this planning until this point now, how long do we have it invested on the project? Not us, but the developers?
I
A
would-
year, 6 months, 2 years? I
Just-
was just wondering.
Just under a year,
Just under a
roughly.
year?
And then most of the work's all been done within the last, I would say, 4 to 6 months, but it's
Okay.
been in discussions for the last probably 10 to 12 months. And then to clarify on the annexation, we just presented the rezoning upon annexation. As soon as that action is approved, our planning staff, Brent, and the attorney for the developer will start the annexation process tomorrow. They've already started laying out that time frame because it does have to go to the state. It is 100% voluntary annexation, but they do have to sign off on that. And so once we receive approval this evening, we'll start that process immediately.
Brian, did you have a couple of citizens who were concerned about the annexation or just the process?
They weren't at all concerned about this subdivision being annexed. They were quite concerned that by annexing this subdivision, it might lead to them later
Their
on being
own.
subdivision in the future.
Oh, okay.
Right now, this annexation does not create any landlocked islands for annexation, which is illegal. But in the future, as development occurs further to the east and to the north and south of here, we will have to address that.
And where did they land, not to go back to that one about the sidewalk? So is there going to be able to be a sidewalk going out to Old Lakeport then, or
We do have
connecting that area?
Within that neck of Singing Hills, there'll be a sidewalk in the north and the south side. The comments that were presented at the hearing is a portion of those sidewalks, because of the limited right-of-way to work with, they're considered to be a Class A sidewalk, which is right next to the curb. They'll still be 5 foot in width, and those property owners have asked to keep that sidewalk through their property along the curb the entire way, and then once a new subdivision starts, they'll flare out away from the curb, and that's just to help to maintain their side yard on those existing houses. And we're working with the engineering, Bacon Creek, who's the engineer on the project, and our engineering staff, and they're going to make that change. And so that sidewalk will be along the curb that first 600 or so feet.
Until you hit the subdivision, then it will flare out.
Yep.
And is there one on Old Lakeport right now, the north-south road? There is.
I don't think so. That's all in county jurisdiction.
No.
Thank you.
Good project.
I could answer that on the sidewalk on Old Lakeport. Both directions on Old Lakeport is still in the county. So it has
It's still in the what?
north
Oh,
and south.
yeah.
The west side from Singing Hill South is in a subdivision that was
Okay.
done by, forget the gentleman that did it.
Humphrey
That's got
Hanson.
sidewalk on that side. But the other side, the east side of Old Lakeport South does not have it because that's in the county.
That's, Humphrey Hanson did that one, didn't he, Paul?
Pardon that?
Didn't old Humphrey do that?
Yes, he did. Yep. Leroy
See, I'm a
Sandring
little
designed
younger
it.
than you, I still can remember that stuff,
It was
Paul.
built when I was city engineer, if I remember right.
I think you were.
Paul, a lot of people know you, but will you state your name and address
I'm
for the
sorry.
record?
I'm Paul Stensland. I'm the project engineer for Kotzovich and Murphy for the development from Bacon Creek Design Incorporated.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Paul.
Anyone else be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Call the roll, or are we voting?
For vote,
Yeah.
the electronic panel.
Okay. Passes 5-0. Is anybody opposed to waiving statutory rule?
No.
Getting
I'll
my
move
hand-
it.
Second.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Greckin?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Second and third, I'll move it.
Second. You done for the day?
Getting started.
Yeah, right.
Hearings, resolution approving the Center Street
Thank
Park
you.
lease
Take
to the
care.
West Side Little League. Motion requested to defer this item till March 1st, 2021. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 22 is a hearing and resolution approving the sale of property at 2504 West 4th Street and authorizing a deed. The petitioner, Oliverio Torres. I'll move it.
Second.
Hearing's now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 23 is a hearing and resolution approving the sale of property near 3153 Hale Street and authorizing a deed. The petitioners, Stephen and Aaron Strong. I'll move it.
Second.
Hearing is open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed.
This is really cool.
I could wait and vote if I had to.
You could.
Yeah.
Passes 5-0. 24 is a hearing and resolution approving a proposal to grant an underground electrical easement at 2403 Aviation Boulevard. The petitioner's Mid-America Energy. I'll move it.
Second.
The hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 25 is a hearing and resolution approving the sale of property near 2514 West 4th Street and authorizing a deed. The petitioner is Donna Johnson. I'll move it.
Second.
Hearing's open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 26 is a hearing and resolution approving the sale of property near Jefferson, Monroe, and 44th Street and authorizing a city deed. The petitioners Jordan and Jacqueline Brumman. I'll move it.
Second.
Anyone to be heard? The hearing is open. Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 27 is a hearing and resolution authorizing the proposal of the Woodbury County Law Enforcement Center Authority for land in the combined Floyd urban renewal area deferred from December 28th, January 4th, 25th, and February 8th. Motion requested to defer this item until March 22nd? Why is that?
Yeah, why does it keep getting deferred?
Keeps getting deferred because they're still doing their due diligence and putting documents together.
Okay. 2021,
taking
I'll
longer.
move that.
Second.
It's taken longer than they anticipated.
Okay. Passes 4-0 to 1. Mr. Moore abstained.
That
28,
was a
the
typo.
hearing and resolution approving the maximum property tax dollars. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 29 is a hearing and resolution approving the plans and specs and for the airport water main replacement project. I'll move that.
Second.
The hearing is open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 30 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the Outer Drive Bridge sanitary sewer project. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Hearing is now closed. Passes 5-0. 31 is an ordinance amending Chapter 10.08, parking restrictions during snow emergency. First consideration approved February 8, 2021. I'll move second reading.
Second.
Staff is actually asking that we delete this item. After speaking with maintenance, we think it's just going to be better to keep it in line with only when we declare snow emergencies.
Really? Really?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
So we're gonna just take out the 2-inch, so we'll come back with a rewrite that gets rid of the 2-inch to get rid of that confusion, but we're gonna go with just doing it only when we're doing snow emergencies.
Okay. I would say I do think the graphics that were sent to the media, I think that's helpful. I don't know if it was our team or their team, but whoever did that, I think that was helpful to kind of just reiterate where they park and when and the visuals, stuff like that.
I give Ann all the credit on that.
Yep, that was helpful.
So thank you.
Is there anyone to be heard on that one, though?
Anyone to be heard? Well, you can vote and just not do third reading, right? And then you could amend what you got or not. No, because it'd be a dramatic change. Yeah. I'll withdraw my motion. Who was?
Or you got to withdraw it, sorry.
Yeah, move it to delete. I'll move to delete.
Second.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Gretkin?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
32 is a resolution amending resolution number 2021-0039 by authorizing a 90-day delay in demolition property at 1005 16th Street. You got the bond, Darrell? I'll move it.
Second.
You got the bond and all that you need?
Yes, bonds and then repairs, and the letter from the financial institution stating that they have the money to make the repairs.
Okay.
Getting some good news.
That is good news.
Got another one right after that, just like it.
That's
Okay.
wonderful.
Exactly.
Good.
Does pay to open that communication line and for them to step forward, and it's very
Yeah.
helpful. That's great. Good job, Darrell.
Such a good job. Let's vote. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm still
33 is a
talking.
resolution amending
vote yet.
chapter number 2020-0778 by authorizing a 90-day and delay in demolition property at 1412 Dale Street. I'll move it.
Second.
Same thing there, all the documents are in place.
All right, good.
Job.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Citizen concerns. Are any citizens? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll go to council concerns. Mr. Gretkin?
I don't know if any of you had a chance to get down to the Expo Center for that volleyball tournament over the weekend, but I
No,
got
but
down.
explain that to us, Pete. Who was there? What teams? What kind of age group?
It was originally, it's my understanding that the arena hosted the volleyball tournament. Originally 150, but I was told 140 teams showed up. There were 13 courts at the Expo Center. They borrowed the 13th court, the main one that they use for the NAIA, and they had the championships there. I sat down there for about an hour and got a chance to talk to Matt and John from Parks and Recreation, and it was set up really, really well. From everything I could tell and people I talked to, they were really pleased. Parking was, an issue, but understandable.
What age group?
I think from 12 to 18.
Okay.
And they had some pretty talented young ladies who could hit that ball pretty hard. I'm glad I wasn't on the other end, but yeah, it just really worked out well, and they were very pleased.
And they're going to be here for another time, too? I thought I saw Ann Wester put on Facebook, or was that it?
I believe they booked back for next year already.
Did they already? I didn't see that. But they had a basketball tournament out at the arena, but they still made room for 5 volleyball courts, 13 at the Expo Center, 3 at Long Line Family Rec Center. So 21 courts going, and it looked like the kids were doing great. The only issue I thought of when I mentioned it to Matt, one girl severely sprained her ankle And I think they're gonna need to get a couple of wheelchairs down there to be able to get them. She was in the far south court and trying to get back out to the north end. It was really hard, but outside of that, I just thought I can see
Yeah.
that
American
being
Home, yeah,
really
yeah.
a nice
Got a
facility.
business card.
All kinds of events.
And what an economic boost to the
At
city.
least I
Yes.
get
That expo center's already paying dividends by
Yeah.
having this many visitors. Alex can speak to that when it's your turn to talk.
Yeah,
about
it was
if you
really
wanna-
very nice, but
Good.
that's all I have.
Julie?
Two short things. One, kudos to our city staff for that snow removal. What an awesome job. I was out last night and I was out first thing this morning. Streets were awesome, very nicely cleaned. The second thing I want to mention is just dollars that were approved today for street repair, new construction or tear out, and resurfacing was $2.16 million being spent on our infrastructure. So I just wanted everybody to know that that's what, just today's, that was approved. So we're making progress on these streets. I know it's kind of a continued scab that kind of keeps getting peeled back, and these are, some are Band-Aids that are going to last for 10 or 20 years, and some of them are going to last for, 80 years. So I just want to say thanks to everyone who's putting the effort towards putting these budgets together, and the money's being spent where it should be.
May I, just a thought while you brought up infrastructure. I went through that intersection of 19th and Hamilton a couple times this morning. Is that on the list? Yes. For the next fiscal year? I believe so. Boy, that's in really rough shape. They may even want to consider filling some holes in that intersection until you get to. Thanks. It's.
Mr. Waters?
Yeah, I would just echo and add to some of the comments that are previously made. I mean, one of the exciting things that I was joking with Gordon, I don't think he's here, but was joking with him that overlay project coming in 14% below our estimate was nice. 1.4 mil saved. I think that was a big deal. So I'm thankful for that. You know what I mean? And all the work that went into planning of that. So yeah, to Julie's point, I'm really excited about those projects moving forward. And then just to echo Pete, I mean, I really believe in the future of this community. I think that we have a lot of great things going on, and I think that we're getting a lot of great continued momentum from the investment that this council has made, which is really exciting. So to think of the economic impact overall of those teams, a majority of them were from out of town. And so bringing them to our community to showcase those facilities, I mean, I saw pictures and it was impressive. And I think that both the staff at Spectra, Parks and Recreation, the arena, all of those organizations worked really hard. And actually there was an event, tournament going on down at IBP as well. There was the Mites or whatever they were called for youth hockey. So that was going on as well. But I mean, gosh, I think at Julie's Industry, I mean, there were over 10 hotels that were sold out throughout the community. And then I got to imagine the restaurants felt some of that economic impact as well. Yeah. So it was a really positive weekend for our community, and I look forward to that continued momentum and the continued investment that this council has made, I think, is really producing some dividends. So I appreciate serving with all of you and that kind of leadership as well. I think that's all I got, Mayor.
Okay.
All those great comments and all the progress is happening during the pandemic. Just think of what it can be like when the pandemic's behind us.
Sure.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thanks.
I just had on my desk today when I got here substantial rate increases for Sparklight. I want to remind the citizens to not call the council. We have nothing to say about their rate increases any longer. We do not approve them. I would say I don't necessarily even agree with them, but that's beside the point. We have no say in these rate increases that you're all going to be seeing in the next few days, probably in the mail, or maybe you've already received your increases. So I just want to be perfectly clear about that, because sometimes when they have a rate increase, we all get phone calls. So with that, I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
Waters?
Aye.
Greckin?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
All right.
Stay safe, everybody.